Hello, crazy Russian dad here. To all the dads, and especially to Paul Smulskiy, who just had a son this past Wednesday, and to all the first-time dads. Happy Father's Day. There was no Father's Day in Soviet Russia, at least when I lived there, okay? There was February 23, which was the day of Soviet Army and Navy, which is now, I think they call the Day of the Defender of Motherland or Fatherland or something like that. And maybe by now there is Father's Day in Russia. I actually do not know, okay? But I'm really happy that there is one here in America. And so for this Father's Day, I want to tell you about, my father. Crazy Russian's dad. And I guess you could call him crazy Russian granddad. Okay, my father is amazing. The guy is incredibly smart, at least 10 times smarter than me. All throughout my school, like into high school and even into college. Kind of still knew all the formulas, all the homeworks, okay? He still remembered the Pythagorean theorem, the Schrödinger theorem, the, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and whatever else. I mean, you did that screw up with the whole, he told me early on that Jews didn't play hockey, so I never learned skating or playing hockey, but that's okay. That maybe because you kind of knew that I was not a Wayne Gretzky type, so I totally forgive you. My dad also has this amazing ability to go for the goal, with focus, okay? I mean, he came to this country in his mid-40s, and then he needed to find a job, to provide for himself and the family. He studied as a student this very obscure field of engineering called electrochemistry, but he hadn't worked in that field for like 15 years. But you know what? He was a new immigrant and he needed to get a job. And you know what? He found that company in America that, the only one that did this whole electrochemistry. I still don't know what it is. He called them. I don't know what he said to them, but somehow he got an interview and he showed up. Okay, the guy had practically no English at the time and he hadn't worked in the field for 15 years. But you know what? He somehow convinced him that he could do the job and he got the job. Amazing. I mean, I could not do that. I don't think too many people could do that. And I think my proudest story that I remember, I need to tell you a little bit the context, okay? So in Russia, in Soviet Russia in those days, you could only work the job that government put you. You couldn't get a second job, not too legally. It was called a khaltura, which is sort of a second job, sort of a side business. So my father, who was a high up sort of executive in this vending company providing vending machines with soda, to drink soda, on various factories, okay, in St. Petersburg, Russia. He had that type of a second job where somebody else's name was there on the books, but he was doing the work and he was sort of getting the money anyhow. So he took me once to one of those, okay? There was this big factory that made, tractors or tanks or whatever they did. Big factory, okay? And the vending machine, one of them broke, okay? And there was like a bunch of literally angry factory workers, tough guys, okay? They work there with their hands all day long, okay? And this man shows up wearing a suit, and I remember still a white shirt for whatever it is. He looked good enough to go into a wedding, probably. And they looked at this guy and said, I could just see, what is this member of intelligentsia can do? They said, there you go, vending machine broke. We're thirsty. What are you gonna do about it? I mean, things look really weird. I mean, a bunch of guys were just looking at him in a very hostile manner. And you know what? He took off his jacket. I mean, I still remember it like it was yesterday. He took off his jacket. He grabbed his tools, screwdrivers, whatever, and was troubleshooting this machine and fixed it in like a few minutes. The whole atmosphere changed. They looked at him like he was one of their own, and I could not be more proud. So my dad is amazing. I'm sure yours too as well. So as dads, we have an important job. I mean, I have 2 boys. We're there to have the talk. My wife seemingly asks me to have the talk with them every 3 months. And they tell me, Dad, we know everything. We're there to help them ride a bicycle. It's, again, our God-given right to run behind the bicycle holding the seat until they can do it on their own. We're there to take them fishing and whatever else you do, or what your father does in your family. And above all, we're there to help them, of course, grow up as gentlemen. They don't know what it's like if you have girls, though. I don't have them. I have 2 sons. But I guess for girls, you're the first man in their life. So, behave accordingly so they understand who men are. Anyhow, so I'll be wrapping up. To my dad and all the dads everywhere, Happy Father's Day from this crazy Russian dad.